John Marston is one of the most badass characters in all of video games, so what can you add to make him even more badass? You put him against zombies. Hey guys, David here with a review on a DLC, not so much a video game, but the expansion of a video game that I played some time ago, and it's known as one of the best games of this past generation, Red Dead Redemption. And of course I'm talking about what many consider to be one of the best pieces of DLC, Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare. I finally got around to play it, so let's go ahead and talk about it. Undead Nightmare sees everybody's favorite badass cowboy John Marston going up against an undead plague that has ravaged the entire West in order to save his family. Now this is a DLC, which means that it's basically an expansion of Red Dead Redemption, meaning several locations from the original game are carried on over, and it's a delight to see them. Every now and then when I would just ride on horseback across the land and I would encounter places that I would visit often in the original game, it would really take me back, and it was always a delight to see those places. And along with that, you also got some returning characters from the original game making appearances here. And most of them are also a delight to see, especially the most badass characters like Ricketts or the Marshal. Others... Really, Rockstar? Really, you had to bring back Nigel West Dickhead, the Jar Jar Binks of Red Dead Redemption? Really? But most importantly, several of the gameplay mechanics from Red Dead Redemption are carried on over to Undead Nightmare. You can almost do everything that you could in the original game, and that not only goes for the gameplay, such as how to use guns, how to fight, how to ride horses, including the Deadeye mechanic, but also the different things that you can do throughout the land. Now, it isn't every single thing that you could do in the original game, because due to the circumstances of the zombie apocalypse, there's some things that you can't do, like play poker or horseshoe. That can't happen. You can't buy goods either. You can't even use money because there's an apocalypse going, so that doesn't really matter. Which leads me to my next topic. How does Red Dead Redemption play out with the inclusion of zombies? Now, Marston going up against zombies is always badass. It's always awesome. Taking down hordes of zombies as John Marston with my six shooter is just an amazing. It just feels so badass. And like I said, carrying on over all the gameplay mechanics from Red Dead Redemption makes it feel much more badass. But I will say that the consistency with the zombie mythos is a little here and there. For the most part, I really liked how they explained the undead outbreak and how it came to be and why it's there and how to get rid of it. All that, I was okay with it. And in fact, there's certain portions of that mythos that I thought was a little bit refreshing for not only video games but different kind of mediums in general. But I did feel some slight inconsistencies here and there, especially towards the end when something rather awesome gets introduced into the game that I thought like, whoa, this is gonna be awesome. But then that kind of led to, like I said, some inconsistencies where I was like, how does that happen? That doesn't really make that much sense. But the design for the zombies were pretty cool. I liked how they looked a little more grotesque than they usually are. They're not necessarily missing pieces of their body, but rather just oozing acid and having these glowing eyes. I really dig different kinds of designs for zombies, especially when all of pop culture is plagued with them. No pun intended. But where I really want to give credit would be the writing. I really dug how introducing zombies into the mix gave it a tongue-in-cheek feel, but the game did take itself a little more seriously when it needed to. It didn't take itself too seriously to where it's very overdramatic, but it's not so over the top and silly that it doesn't recognize when it needs to be serious, like when a particular character gets eaten up by zombies and the friends of that character don't realize that, yeah, our buddy just got eaten by zombies. Now, besides the main story, there's also plenty of other stuff to do. Much like in the original Red Dead Redemption game, there's the story missions, but aside from that, there's also side quests that you can do throughout the land, as well as interacting with different mythological creatures on your spare time. And this all amounts to what is probably one of the lengthiest pieces of DLC that you'll play. I mean, this took me about 6 hours, and some regular games are lucky enough to be 6 hours long. For most regular games, 6 hours is quite short and barely the feature length, so to speak, of a video game. But for a piece of DLC, it's pretty lengthy. Now, despite holding up to this day graphically and audibly speaking, because trust me, it still looks and sounds great. The score is still amazing, including a song in there towards the end that's very surfer rock, and I really dug it. It really pumped me up to kill more zombies. And like I said, graphically it still holds up. It still carries on over all of the different designs and graphic textures and all that, technical stuff on over from the original game. But unfortunately, one of the biggest problems with this DLC is that it's immensely buggy. I don't know if this has to do with me having the digital version over the disc version, because I've actually heard some people say that the one on the disc doesn't have that many technical glitches, whereas this digital version really had an awful lot of bugs, and it actually locked up on me a couple of times to where I had to restart the mission all over, and it was a mission that took me like half an hour. But one last positive factor of the Undead Nightmare expansion is that it actually comes with the multiplayer component from Red Dead Redemption, meaning if you have the digital version, you don't have to put in the Red Dead Redemption disc in order to play multiplayer. I could just activate it right there on the main menu. Overall, Undead Nightmare was an awful lot of fun, and it's never tiring to play as John Marston. And now to add zombies to the mix? Hell yeah. But the fact that the creators went ahead and gave us more than enough content to explore in just a single piece of DLC is actually, it deserves an awful lot of merit. And for that, I give Undead Nightmare an 8 out of 10. I definitely recommend buying this piece of DLC, whether it be on the standalone disc or digitally, but be aware the digital version probably has all of these bugs. And if any of you guys own either version, please let me know. Does the disc version have less or more bugs than the digital version? Because I would really like to know. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to subscribe for more videos, and until next time guys, take care.